William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
Welcome to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Patti Fink, Lerone Landis, and Gabrielle Landis. And our guest today is Portia Cantrell, who's going to be talking about Gay Pride and the Gay Pride Prom. Welcome, Portia.
Hi. Thank you.
And welcome, Gabrielle.
Hi.
Gabrielle, our listeners know who you are because Lerone has been talking about you for years and years and years.
Yes. I'm sorry, just kind of cute to hear her voice on the radio.
And Gabrielle, just jump in anytime because us young people are going to be talking to the old person here. Portia is...
I'm in there with you, Portia.
I know.
It's you and me, girl.
I know. That's why... I needed Gabrielle here today so that I'd have some company, us young people. Portia.
Yes.
You are the coordinator of Gay Pride?
I am a volunteer program coordinator for the Gay Pride program.
First, tell us about the prom, just real quickly.
The prom is going to be May 13th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Resource Center. It's a Saturday, and I posted this morning on my Facebook page that we are going to party like we're 18, only this time we don't have to sneak drinks. And
well, Gabrielle will.
Well, I'll pass on that.
I will too.
And also, what Gay Pride is a program for LGBT and Q individuals that are age 50 and older. And we really want to give them a chance, or all of us a chance, to go back in time and do it right this time.
Okay, and I'm going to have you older people tell us some of the problems and some of the things that you older people encounter. I think Gabrielle is giving me a look already.
She is.
But before we begin, really, Portia, I want you to tell us a little bit about your story and why this prom is so meaningful to you, and just a little bit about your background, because you have a real interesting story. Well,
I don't know if it's interesting, but...
it is.
Yeah, it is.
I am... They just said that this was the 20th anniversary of Ellen saying that she was gay.
Mm-hmm. The puppy episode 20 years ago.
Anyone that doesn't know, this is Portia Cantrell, and I am gay.
Woo!
And, but back when I was 15, even though I knew I was gay before I was 15, back when I was 15, my sister caught me in a compromising position with a young lady who I had been crushing on for a while and had finally succeeded in getting to know her better. And my sister decided that I could no longer live at home.
Your mom had died and your sister moved back in with you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My mom passed when I was 6, and my sister, who was older, she's 12 years older, moved back in to the house to help my father raise me. Not that I was a wild child, but I was a handful. And when she caught me with my girlfriend, she told me that if this is the way you're going to be carrying on, then there's the door. And I said, well, cool, okay. And I left.
And you were how old?
15.
15, and you left home.
Did your dad try and intervene? Like, no, stay?
Well,
Or did he just agree?
I didn't, he wasn't there at the time. And as it turned out, I didn't go back for quite a while, and I didn't stay in touch. Not really, although I was just across the street. My father's best friend lived across the street from us, and he was kind enough to let me stay in his garage.
That's kind of cool.
It was for him because
I guess. Okay.
He was helping me. He was going to help me prove that I wasn't that type of girl.
Oh no.
So
undo. Yeah, not good.
Not cool.
That's not
Yeah.
cool at all.
So he, as a result of him helping me prove that, which it didn't work, but I wound up pregnant. And then I wound up homeless all over again because, of course, he couldn't let his wife know that he had gotten this teenage girl that he was secretly keeping in his garage pregnant. So
Wow.
I was out on my own again.
With pregnant.
And pregnant.
At the age of 16?
Well, I was still 15 then.
Wow.
I turned 16 while I was homeless. But
Wow.
we didn't think of it as being homeless back then. It was just like,
Well, where did you live? Were you actually on the street or with other friends, sofa surfing? Or?
well, for a while I stayed in a bus station. It was a Greyhound bus station, the only bus station in Gary, Indiana. And I slept on a bench in the bus station because the bus station was open all the time. And then I started.
And they let you.
Oh, yeah. Because, they couldn't stop me. It was a public place.
Okay.
So, and then I started working at the bus station. That was my very first job. I sold hot dogs at the hot dog stand. And then I had my son. And we did a little stint on welfare. But that was not, back then it was like, I think $200 a month or something, which just wasn't enough. So I had a couple of jobs, washed cars and worked at the bus station selling hot dogs and stuff like that.
Then even cheap rents were more than $200.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so because of that, you dropped out of school.
Yes, I did.
And you never had a prom.
I never had a prom. And I always wanted to go to the prom, but I wanted to go to the prom, but I wanted to be the guy. Or I wanted to take a date to the prom. But at that time, I hadn't even graduated from high school. It just didn't seem like it would ever happen.
Well, before we get on to the prom, how did you get back on your feet? What was
Well,
that like?
I took the GED test. Now, I actually took the test to find out. I dropped out of school when I was in the 10th grade. I had just started 10th grade. And when I was 18, I took the GED test to see what I would need to know in order to pass it. But surprisingly, I passed it.
Wow.
So that blew me away. And then I started thinking, well, heck, if I can pass this, I can do something else. And I started taking classes at Indiana University, and they had a campus in Gary. So I started taking classes there. I actually wanted to go to law school. But then, life happened and got shot and, that sort of stuff. So
Got shot.
Yeah.
You got shot?
I got shot.
Whoa.
You got shot.
Okay, that was part of the story that we hadn't heard before.
Oh. Well,
Wow.
okay. You know how people say, oh, try it, you'll like it. Well, there were these guys that I always tell, I was not the person you see in front of me now. I used to be really hot. I mean, I was fine, if I say so myself.
I think you're pretty fine now, but
too, actually.
There were these guys. These guys thought, that they could turn me to. It seems like a lot of people have spent a lot of time trying to make me not gay. But this one guy decided that if he could just have sex with me, that I would be straight. And
even though you already had a child.
Yeah, I would. It wasn't like I was out because I wasn't really in. Mm-hmm. So I was dating or that sort of thing. But he decided that he was going to
turn you.
Yes, and he kicked in my door one night, and so I had a gun that had 2 bullets in it. He was a big guy, and I shot him. He didn't stop coming at me, so I shot him again, and then he went down. But then later on, what happened was his guys, his boys, came back later, and I wound up getting shot with a sawed-off shotgun.
Oh my God!
So,
how long did it take to recover?
A year. That was back before the insurance companies decided that they could determine how long you should be in a hospital. Mm-hmm. So I spent the better part of a year in the hospital doing rehab and all of that because it was a shotgun blast to the abdomen.
Oh my God! So what happened to your son during that time?
One of my sisters kept him.
Not the sister that kicked you out.
No.
Okay, but there's more to that story with the sister who kicked you out. Then we'll get to the prom.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, so anyway, my sister and I did not have a close relationship. We didn't really have a relationship at all. And then after quite a few years, we became friendly, but not sisterly friendly. Mm-hmm. And then she,
You spoke.
I'm missing, yeah. I'm missing a part. I went back to school eventually, and I became a nurse. Mm-hmm. And the way it is when you have a member of your family that's a nurse and something is going on with you, then they will say, look, tell me what this means. And my sister sent me a copy of some lab results that she had gotten. And I looked at them, and I knew that she was in renal failure, and I knew that she was going to eventually need a kidney because she was pretty in bad shape. And so I got in touch with her, and I told her, you need to let me test to see if I can be your donor. And she refused. I never really asked her why she kept refusing, but she kept refusing. And I just said, well, okay. But then one day I was at work, and the dialysis technician at the center called up to my job and said that said that she was at the center and they couldn't get her shunt to stop bleeding. Oh, wow. And as I was telling Lerone, my charge nurse at that time, Rigo Garcia, and I went to the center, and it was just, to me, not that I have anything against dialysis, but I'd never seen it before. And I walked in there, and it was like something out of some kind of science fiction movie. And I just lost it. And I was crying and screaming and falling out on the floor. And she was telling me to get up, you're embarrassing me. And then she said, look, if we get tested, would you get up? And I just felt like this feeling of peace, because I felt so helpless before, but then I felt like it was something finally I could do. And we tested, and we were a match. And after a couple of months of, testing back and forth and psychological exams and all of the stuff they put you through, on the day before Christmas Eve that year, I became her kidney donor.
Wow, and this was the sister that told you to leave, that kicked you out of your childhood home, and you gave her a kidney.
Yes.
If that's not a remarkable person, I don't know what is.
But you never really reconciled completely. You never spoke about when she kicked you out.
No. But I have to say, I think we may be getting close because thanks to you, David. I mean, it may have been a cowardly thing to do, but I mailed her a copy of the Dallas Voice, the article that you wrote, and I put a Post-it on it, and I said, please read this. And so I'm waiting to hear if she would like to talk about it.
I can imagine, even if she does want to talk about it, she wants to think about it for a little bit. And that might be best.
I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
No, I get it.
No.
Anyway, we need to take a break.
Sorry.
So that leads up to you never had a prom, and so you're planning one. And we're going to take a break, and you're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 Knon FM. And I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone and Gabrielle Landis, and with
This Landis
Fink.
Valle.
Oh.
Landis Valle.
Landis Valle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's get this right, man.
Excuse me. And is that your radio name, Gabrielle? Okay. And Patti Fink more?
Maybe. I
No,
don't know.
you haven't decided yet. We'll be back with more, and we'll just decide what our names are after this.
Jelinski Brown with Research Center United Black Element, and I listen to Lambda Weekly radio program on 89.3 K9, the voice of the people. I am the people, so hear me speak.
And you're listening to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Gabrielle and Lerone, who don't know what their names are, and Patti Fink, who's not quite sure. Our guest is Portia Cantrell. Portia is putting together the Gay Pride Prom. She's a volunteer program coordinator at Resource Center and does the Gay Pride programs. You say that fast 3 times. Great Pride programs.
Great Gay Pride.
So you are putting on a prom for people like you who never got to go to a prom or didn't get to go to the prom with the person that they would have wanted to go to the prom with.
Yes.
Did you go to a prom, Patti?
I did. I went solo.
You went solo?
Really?
Oh, how sad.
Yeah.
Hey.
Gabrielle, have you gone to your prom?
No.
Are you planning to?
I don't know.
Not yet? So you don't know who you're going to take? Not yet. And Lerone, did you go to yours?
Yeah, I've been to 2 proms, actually.
And why 2?
Well,
because
once
you got left back, I know.
No, believe it or not, I never shared this. I went in my senior year with a really good female friend of mine. And then my first year of college, when I had my first boyfriend, he was in his senior year. We went to prom together.
And I went...
And that was a big deal. This was
I
back in
went
91.
with somebody who is a good friend of mine. She and I are still very close friends. And do you know what I remember about it? The bright powder blue tuxedo that I wore.
Oh, wow.
With a very wide tie.
Oh, it was I think it was velvet. Bow tie. It was gorgeous.
I bet that color looked good.
I have to dig out that picture.
You should.
Because,
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, we were
Post
just...
it on Facebook.
I should, in honor of the Great Pride Prom.
Yes.
But Portia, your wife decided she's not going with you unless you do it right.
Yes.
So you had to give a promposal.
My wife, Tanya. Hi, Tanya, if you're listening.
Of course, she better be listening.
No, she's saying, oh, thank goodness she's out of the house.
She told me that if I want to take her to the prom, then I have to come up with a promposal. I have to do it right.
That sounds fair.
So
Now, did you have promposals when you were in high school?
No, I went to my junior high prom, and I went with a guy who promposaled me.
Oh, well, you went alone to your high school prom.
Yeah.
So you didn't promposal yourself?
No.
And Lerone, did you have promposals when you were in high school?
No, I mean, it was...
Okay, so
no.
it's not just me. And truth be told, I'm a couple of years older than Lerone.
Oh,
Probably.
I thought you were going to say Gabrielle.
But we didn't have anything like this. So what's a promposal?
Well, a promposal is where you make some kind of production out of asking somebody to the prom. Some people do it as simple as having prom written out in pepperoni on a pizza. Some people go all out. Now, I can't say yet what my promposal is going to be, but I will say that there are people who are helping me with it.
You're running out of time.
It's the 30th.
Yeah, I know.
You better ask her soon. Well, in today's world, all you have to do is just do a Google Calendar invite, and they say yes or no.
I wish I could hire
say no if that's all that you do.
Well, I gave her a really good story for her engagement thing, So I'd like to do something equally nice. So that's what that's about.
Well, it's going to be a good one. I can tell. It's cooking. It's brewing.
Yeah. She'll never see it coming.
Tanya, if you're listening, I will watch out, girl.
What are some of the other programs that Great Pride does?
We have every Monday from 1 to 5, we have our Monday meetups. And that's where we sit around and we talk to each other. We talk about the old days. We talk about what we're going to do in the future because our time is not up yet. So we watch movies. We watch television shows. We've been watching Frankie and Grace, or Grace and Frankie, whichever way that goes. Also from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Mondays, they have the oh my goodness, see, that's
the counseling session.
Yeah,
basically.
I was going to say, see, that's one of the drawbacks of getting old. It totally slipped my mind. The counseling session, and that's where if you have some issues that you want to discuss, something that you really need to talk about or get off your chest, then they have these therapists who are in training from SMU, and you can have one-on-one time with them, and it's a really great thing. I thought that after the election, they were probably just going to be overrun with people who had a lot to get off of their chest. And these
I think actually after the election, I think that's one that scared younger people more than older people, because you older people have gone through some terrible precedents.
Not like this
Not
one.
like this one. No, I agree. But
radio listeners, if you could have only seen Portia's face saying,
not
like this. Not like this.
I think this is a first for everyone.
If your only memory is the previous president, that's different than if your memory is, W came right before
FDR
them.
like yours?
Yeah. But you're right. That affected all sorts of people. I was over at one of the gay straight alliances in one of the high schools, and the kids in that group that week were petrified. I mean, a lot of them were worried about immigration issues.
Oh, yeah.
It's like all of a sudden their lives would be turned upside down. So that was an issue that affected everybody.
Everybody.
So,
I would imagine, though, in your group, you might have folks who, because my sister tells it. I have a sister that's 14 years older than me, and we're so close. But she tells this story about like when, and she graduated from high school in '66, and she said at that time, there was an expectation that you would just get married. For a girl would just get married. She becomes a woman. It's find a husband, move on kind of thing. And like my parents only paid for her to have one semester of college. That's all she was going to get. And it's like she's kind of expected, I guess, to shop the scene, in her one semester.
Oh, my God.
And make it happen. But that was the expectation then. And it's a huge pressure.
Yeah.
It's a huge pressure on a straight person,
okay.
A straight kid.
This is cultural because my grandmother graduated from a 4-year college in 1913. So there were some women going to school.
Oh, I agree. But there's an awful lot of people that I've met in my adulthood who or have been gay all of their lives, but they did the traditional marriage, have kids, and then later in life, maybe when their kids were grown, then they came out and they dealt with it. And many of them have great relationships with their spouses, even now. And they see each other at, family events and grandkids and stuff like that. But there's a lot of folks out there. You have a lot of folks in the Gay Pride that fit that situation?
I wouldn't say a lot, but there are quite a few. One person in particular comes to mind that this is such a fantastic story. I can't say his name because I don't have his permission, but he is 93. And
oh, wow.
You go whoever you are.
He was married, but his boyfriend, was the person he worked with in the truck every day for all of these years. And they had a relationship and they were in love and he was married and, he had kids and then his wife died and he became a little bit more open about who he was, but never really saying, hello world, I'm gay. But then he came to Texas and he went to gay bingo and somehow he wound up on the stage. And that was where he made his first public announcement that he was gay.
Wow.
And this was not too long ago. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we've got everybody from somebody that's just turned 50 years old to somebody who's 93.
Wow.
But
and all kinds of comings out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm too young to go.
Well, we're not going to be standing there checking IDs.
45.
We ain't going to be checking IDs now.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to remember, Lerone is like old in body.
He's an old soul.
He's
not
soul.
old in body because he looks darn good. Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
No. You can say that, and I appreciate it.
He's got an
Don't
old
encourage
soul.
him. Don't encourage him.
I'll get with Danny and see what we can work out because I think there's a lot of people in our community who have not had that chance to go to, whether you're 25 or 95, who did not get that chance to go to prom with whoever we really wanted to go to prom with. So I think this is a fun idea.
And let me tell you, the Resource Center, Johnny Humphrey, hi Johnny, if you're listening, we are going to have the upstairs, and that's where we're going to have the prom, the dancing and everything, and we're also going to have the downstairs. So the downstairs,
there's an elevator.
Yes, and the downstairs is going to be kind of set up like a lounge because the music may be too loud or something upstairs, and there have been tons of people who have volunteered who want to be a part of this. My friend Rochelle Glenn and her wife Kelly. Rochelle has this lesbian happy hour social movement, and they do the party scenes but it's a social thing. So she put out on her page, we need volunteers to help these older people celebrate prom. And we want to show them that they're appreciated. And my phone has been blowing up. I keep getting all these messages from people. I'm down, I'm in, and it's just been, I've been in tears almost every day over some message or other.
So you're saying that I should come chaperone?
Well, I'm saying that since you are really young, you can come and you don't have to sit up there with us old people. You can be downstairs with the young people.
So maybe Gabrielle would be a good chaperone for you older people, and she can call out your misbehaviors.
Well,
y'all
like
need to
I
keep
said,
it down over there in the
at
corner.
this prom, we're not going to have to sneak and drink, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to do like the boutonnieres and
corsages? We want to have a red
That's
carpet.
old school.
That is those. They still do it though.
Really?
Oh, very much so.
And the red carpet. That's going to be a big part of it.
Oh, the red carpet. That's
because
cool.
Haven't you? I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I always dreamed of the red carpet. And the way Rochelle has been talking about, we should have like paparazzi. So as you walk on the red carpet, have people taking pictures and stuff as you make your way down to the area where you're going to get your photograph taken.
Oh, that
before
sounds
we
like
get
fun.
all hot and sweaty from dancing, because we're going to boogie. Do they still say boogie?
I do.
Okay. Well, whatever it is, we're going to
I bet they don't say
Gabrielle, you don't say boogie, do you? No, I don't either.
And I don't think anybody says boogie, oogie, oogie anymore either.
Okay.
Definitely not that. Definitely not that.
But yeah, I've got some great friends that are helping with this, and it's
So
really exciting.
here's the important thing. Do you all have your attire picked out?
I wanted to wear a red tux, but I have not been able to find that.
Online, maybe?
Well, I'm kind of a big person.
I hate to buy clothes online, too, because you have to try them
You never
on.
know.
Yeah. So I might just go with the traditional black and maybe a red shirt.
Red tie, red.
Will it have ruffles?
Cummerbund.
I'm not
Because
the
along
ruffle-
with
I'm not the
along with
ruffle
my
type.
along with my powder blue tuxedo, I had a
Puffy shirt.
yes.
The puffy. Oh Lord, I remember that Seinfeld in his puffy shirt.
I have to find that picture.
You do. You're committed now.
Yeah, yeah.
We're expecting it.
Yeah, I do need to find that picture. Let's talk about some of the issues that the LGBT community faces with aging. Lerone's in a different case because, Gabrielle, I don't know whether you know it or not, but you're going to be stuck with two dads that you're going to have to take care of.
Oh, she knows.
And I mean,
Oh, she knows.
here are some of the things I went through
Thank
with
you,
my
baby.
father. Here's some of the things I had to do. When he started getting senile and Leron starting much younger, I had to take away his driver's license. I had to take
keys.
away his car. Yeah, the car keys. I had to take away his mail. I had to. I ended up putting him in an Alzheimer's facility. But so all these things. So you're stuck with it.
You're going to have to take his phone away at some point.
So Dad always says he's going to put me in a home, and what do you say?
I'm going to take care of you.
Or say it
I'm
again?
going to take care of you.
Say thank you.
You're saying that now.
Right. Oh, I love her.
Yeah, you're saying that now. Your tune will change. Because the older he gets, the more ornery he gets.
Yeah. He's going to be trouble later.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
I'll make sure that, we have a good nurse to assist her or something. But I do not want to go home.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there are times where you just have to give them no choice. And you just check them in.
Respite care. Just tell him it's respite care.
So,
I'll be back in an hour.
Portia,
Oh, that's so wrong, Patty.
Tell him you're taking him to a party. Yeah.
Drop him off.
and we've talked about this a number of times, and last time you were on, we talked a little bit about this. There's, in nursing homes, assisted care facilities, there are two problems, basically. One of them is just outright abuse and discrimination against somebody who's LGBT.
Yes.
The other is when you go to any of these homes and you ask, would my mother, who's a lesbian, be welcome here? Of course she would be.
Yes.
But the real question is, what programs do you have that might interest her? And there's nothing.
Correct.
So how do you deal with this? Has the committee that's working on this made any strides in that direction to provide more programs of interest to older LGBT people? I mean, Great Pride is in part providing some of that if they can get the person there.
Correct. But let me tell you one thing that I'm on the board of directors for the Coalition for Aging, and Cannon Flowers is he's our leader, and he is very big on we have to do something to make sure that people who get to be of the age where they would call you senior citizens, we have to do something to make sure that they're going to have a good life. And so we have on on the coalition, we have a board, we have different boards, but I am chairman of the Social Services and Healthcare Board committee. And what we're working on right now is finding out where the LGBT informed caregivers, facilities, and doctors are. What we're doing is we're trying to make sure that if someone has to go into a nursing home or has to see a physician, that they're going to be able to make an informed choice. Like you said, if somebody says, "Oh, are you LGBT friendly?" they're going to say yes, of course, because they want your money. They want the business.
Well, I mean, even if they think they are, I mean, the person that you're talking to probably, sure, she wants to live here, we'd be happy to have her.
Yeah, but we need to vet those facilities, not as I am a member of this board who is vetting you. We want to make sure that if I take my spouse, I know she's going to receive some care that is not homophobic.
Right. We need to take a break, and your spouse is younger than you are. She's more likely to take you.
Yeah, she keeps reminding me of that.
You're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 Knon FM. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with the late Patti Fink and Lerone Landis. And the lovely Gabrielle, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back with more right after this. And Knon, the Knon exhibit is opening at the Texas Musicians Museum. We'll also be having a crawfish boil and the first annual Knon Music Festival, starring blues from the Andrew Jr. Boyd Jones Blues Band featuring Carrie LePay, gospel from the Relatives, reggae from Bum Lucky, and cumbia from the Los Combers, and the this is why I don't record spots for the station, and the Knon All-Star DJ Band with Lisa Blue, J Mac, Sunny Boy Mark, and special guests, which don't include any of us. It's Saturday, May 13th. VIP doors open at 3 p.m., general admission at 4 p.m., and it's at the Texas Musicians Museum, 222 East Irving Boulevard, and tickets and more info are at knon.org.
This is Jennifer Maddox with Jonathan's Place, and you're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 KNON FM.
Welcome back to the Lambda Weekly show. I'm Gabrielle Landis Valle.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Gabrielle.
That was cool.
You got that recorded, Portia?
Us old people, I'm sorry, I don't know. I have to wait till I try.
I know that feeling.
okay.
I know that feeling. Before we go back to some of the things you're doing, something exciting happened in the legislature. Not a bathroom bill, not a religious freedom bill, not one of the other stupid bills. Eric Johnson, who was on our show a few weeks ago, he has a hearing tomorrow for two of his bills. It's not really a hearing. He's going to be in the committee and lay out the bills, basically. One is ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. So he is proposing an Employment Non-Discrimination Act for Texas.
Right.
Now, can you imagine if that passed along with the bathroom bill? That would make lots of sense, right? Everybody can work here. You can't be fired for who you are, but you can't go to the bathroom.
That would just be amazing if Texas had an ENDA at all, because we don't even have a federal ENDA.
Right.
That would be amazing, and he proposed it, and if it gets out of committee, that will be a step further than that bill has gotten before. The other is a gender pay equality bill. In other words, Patti, you've talked about your story about having been paid less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been at my company now 20 years this coming week. May 7th. Yeah.
So you started right the week of the puppy episode.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. And I remember where I was. I went to a watch party at an apartment, a friend of mine, and there were like 30 lesbians watching Ellen come out on TV. It was great. I remember it was so exciting. Mm-hmm. But back to the job thing, I started a new job, and within a year had a different manager than what I started with. And he pulled me in his office one day and he said, "You're dramatically underpaid. We're going to fix this." And I mean, significant bump. I got a significant bump.
Nice.
So, I was like, that's really something. So,
well, but they were honest about it. Usually
Yeah.
they're not. Usually what happens is you start at the lower pay and then you get a nice raise, taking you to just a little bit below what you should have started at.
Right.
Yeah, so, but this is a gender pay equality bill. So Eric is laying out both of these bills before the committee at a hearing tomorrow. So good luck with that one, because that, along with the bathroom bills.
and we would become, if this would pass and the ENDO would pass, would move forward in both chambers and get signed by the governor, we'd still be just one of like 23 states.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of states don't have
No, they
a
don't.
bill protecting us.
Well, I would expect our governor not to sign it, but I can
I would
imagine
expect that
our
too.
lieutenant governor will be there lobbying for it, don't you?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But he got a hearing. He's getting a hearing on this. That is a huge step.
Yeah.
It really is, because most of these bills get filed every single session, and sometimes in multiple ways. Many different representatives and senators will introduce them, and they never go anywhere.
Yeah.
They just sit. And so this is exciting to get a
It is. So congratulations,
committee to
Eric.
pay attention.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for your
Yes,
efforts.
thank
And we'll find out what happens and talk about it on the show next week. We're talking with Portia Cantrell. She runs the Gray Pride program at Resource Center.
Well, I don't
Program
run
manager.
it.
Program manager.
If you
for
say
it.
that,
I'm
I might
taking it away
get there
from
tomorrow
somebody.
and they might tell me I can't come back. I volunteer at the Resource Center for Gray Pride.
But what would Resource Center be without their wonderful volunteers?
And you don't have to be gray like me, which was pretty gray,
Well, you're old, Patty.
Well, thanks.
But he's older.
Gray is
But he's older.
beautiful. Gray is beautiful.
I have to tell my story again. When my mother had a full head of gray hair by the time she was 30, and I started
Oh, wow.
turning gray when I was in my early 30s. And in fact, somebody at my job one time said, "Where do you get your hair done? Those are great highlights." I'm like, "No, this is natural." But when I was about 4, my mom was in the bathroom brushing her hair, and she was kind of really down and upset because she was so gray, And so I said, "Oh," and I knew gray was kind of bad, and I wanted to make her feel better. So I said, "Oh, Mom, it's not gray." And she goes, "Well, what is it?" And I thought for a minute, and then I said, "It's not gray, it's light black." And that became a joke in our family
how
since
cute.
then,
And coincidentally, for my high school 40th reunion, about 300 people came. Not a single one of us had gray hair. Not a speck of gray hair. None of us.
And how long ago was this?
About 5 years ago. We were talking about some of the issues that LGBT people face as they're aging. One thing that I've thought of that kind of we're almost a little bit more prepared to age than other people was because of the HIV crisis, the AIDS crisis, that all of the services that we developed for people with HIV came from services for senior citizens. So we've kind of navigated these things in a way.
Yeah.
And we've navigated things like losing our loved ones. Mm-hmm. Although I'll tell you what, losing a spouse is a whole lot different than anything I ever went through before.
Yeah.
But it's still, we've navigated hospitals and
Providing meals,
nursing facilities, all these different things.
rides to appointments. I mean, all these things.
Even doing some of the medical care ourselves, even though we didn't have
Yeah.
medical training.
Right.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many pieces of medical equipment I learned to use. I remember sitting in the hospital, and another friend came in, and we had a friend who was dying. He was on morphine, and I said, "You watch him. I'm going to go get something to eat." And I came back, and he said, "I keep clicking the TV remote, and I can't get it to. I can't get the station to turn." I said, "That's because you're feeding him morphine."
Oh,
Yeah.
Now, there's a lockout. You can't overdose somebody.
Right. And I have to tell this, I was driving Erin early one morning to Baylor because she was going to have a surgery, and she was pumping her thumb on her fist. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "I'm practicing." She was going to get one of those morphine pumps afterward, and she enjoyed that morphine. Let me tell you.
Keeping
And
it
probably you put it in her hand, and all she did was turn the TV off. But some other things that I thought of: marriage equality. Will your spouse be respected the way a straight couple's spouse would be respected?
It's a great question.
In nursing facilities, in just anywhere you're going, because an older person is less likely to, and I'm talking about 70s, 80s even, is less likely to really be able to defend themselves in public about something like that. Now, me, I had a big mouth. And as soon as I started calling Brian my husband, everybody picked up on it. I haven't experienced any problems with that. I didn't get any nasty emails. I didn't get any, homophobic messages, nothing like that. Oh, phone's ringing. But I did not get those messages. But I would imagine that a number of people who are in different situations would. I had lots of family support from his family and my family. I would think a lot of people who are older wouldn't. Do you have any examples of people who just don't have that family support or religious support or, just outside support that is helpful?
David, we cannot legislate respect. Mm-hmm. That's something that can be taught. I mean, we can't make people like that they have to treat us with respect, but we can teach them why they should respect us and treat us as they would want to be treated.
And certainly if that disrespect comes with lesser service or discrimination in some form, we do have recourse for that.
Because, honey, we can take our money anywhere.
That's right.
And that's one of the things I love about working with the Coalition for Aging, because we are learning about all of these healthcare facilities. We're learning about physicians, and we're learning that if they don't treat us with respect, then we can take our business elsewhere. We're the consumers. Now, getting back to your original question, I do know for a fact that I have had problems with not being treated with respect because I'm married to a woman. I recently had not recently, it was a year ago, but I had surgery and I had to go to a different hospital from the one that I planned to go to because there was a Bible thumping woman in the waiting room who refused to believe that I was married to a woman, and the security at Presbyterian, because that's the hospital it was at, refused to stop her. The office staff, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle it. So now I forgot what the question was.
The rest of the people weren't necessarily ill-intentioned. One person was ill-intentioned and felt that her beliefs trumped your beliefs, but they just don't have the training.
Right.
Was that a staffer?
No, she was also, I think she was like visiting somebody. But the thing is, they should know that these happen. And when they saw it was happening to me and I was a patient, then they should have taken action. But they didn't know what to do, or else they didn't care. And I like to think they just didn't know what to do. And that's where organizations like the Coalition for Aging and the Resource Center and Educare and all of those places can come in handy, because they can teach people what they should do to help people like me when they're in those uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, but you can speak on this from a different perspective than any of us can, because you are a former medical worker. You are in the trenches of it. I mean, you think nurses, medical assistants, doctors, everybody's in it for the benefit of the patient. Now, of course, you have bad apples everywhere, but in your experience, that most of the hospital staff or the medical staff treat patients I guess, to the best of their ability, regardless of what thought of the patient, even if it was, someone that happened to be gay or lesbian, even if they weren't out, if you just knew it.
I think that people want to believe that. There are some hospitals that make more of an effort to make sure that all of their patients are treated equally well. But again, you cannot legislate about respect and hate and diversity. So you have to start with teaching. So I don't know if that answers your question,
No, it does.
but I do know that when I was still actively nursing, there were coworkers of mine that discriminated against me because I was gay. I was a ER nurse, and anytime a gay or lesbian patient came in, that was going to be my patient.
Good.
There were times.
Good. Then that patient got better care.
That patient got excellent
I know
care.
at Baylor, while they were discriminating against all of their LGBT employees back in the 1980s, they took all their lesbian nurses, or ones that they knew were lesbian, who they were going to fire soon anyway, put them on the AIDS floor because they had a separate floor for people with AIDS. Those guys who were dying from AIDS at that time got the best care because all of their nurses were lesbian and really loved them and cared for them. So they were actually doing the patients a favor.
Yeah. And one other thing I want to point out, I was a trauma nurse, and I know it doesn't mean anything to you all to say that I was a trauma nurse specialist, but you have to go into extensive training to be a trauma nurse specialist. And I had patients that would have that actually wanted to have a new grad nurse straight out of nursing school take care of their loved one instead of this nurse who was a trauma nurse specialist with short hair that looked like she was a DYKE.
Gabrielle can spell.
Oh. Okay. Well, sorry.
Okay, I appreciate that.
So that just goes to show you how
I'm on your side,
rampant
Gabrielle.
homophobia can be. And also, I know you're running out of time, but can I real quick say something? I volunteer at the Nelson Thibodeau Clinic, and we do HIV and STD testing, and everyone should know their status. We're also doing PrEP now, but I just want to say hello to my babies there because they take care of me. So Tito, Joey, Jay, Michael, and all of the rest of you guys, hi, I love you, and I told you I was going to give you a shout out.
Okay, so the Great Pride Prom is going to be on May 13th, so it's in 2 weeks.
Yes.
To get tickets are just $10.
Tickets are $10, but some colleagues of my wife is a certified nurse anesthetist, registered nurse anesthetist, a CRNA. Anyway, they have been calling and saying we would like to sponsor people to go to the prom because they think it's good for mental health.
Right.
So if you cannot afford it, send me a message, and we've got tickets for you.
Great. But to get the link to it, just go to Resource Center.
Go to the Resource
and then
Center.
find the Great Pride page, right?
Yes.
Okay. Portia, we are out of time. Thank you so much for being here.
It's always so great to see you. Thank you.
Yes.
Come back,
You gotta keep
Portia.
coming back.
Thank you.
And you got to do that proposal.
I got
Get
to.
moving.
You're going to run out of time, and your wife is not going to go.
No, she's going if I have to drag her naked. Wait. Splice that part out.
And we'll be back with more Lambda Weekly next week. Our guest will be Candy Markham.
All right.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.